previous video, I mentioned I had a basketball tournament to coach in the morning. This is my 7 a.m. moon chase. Later that afternoon, I made it over to the St. Paul airport for a unique moonrise alignment with a historic 100-foot tall Airway Beacon. Here's the story in the shots. Welcome to Chasing the February Full Moon, Part 3. We are heading to St. Paul, Minnesota, near the St. Paul airport. And I have a target picked out. It's an Airway Beacon, basically a lighthouse. So with the full moon rising after sunset tonight, I'm looking for something that either need lights on it like buildings or a structure that can be silhouetted. So this, I'm hoping, is going to be silhouetted, and it also still has working lights on it. So it could make for a cool picture. It's very small, and I'm very inexact, unfortunately, on my placement. PhotoPills gets me close, so it might be a little run and gun. But I got a spot, a little urban shoot tonight. Part 3, here we go. The Airway Beacon was built in 1929 to help light the route between Chicago and St. Paul. The 24-inch mirror with 1 kilowatt lamp mirror could be seen for over 40 miles. Tonight, it's my target for the February snow moon. All right, so we got to our spot here down by the St. Paul airport. There's actually a helicopter taking off right here that you might be able to hear. So I got my 200 to 500 out here. The beacon is right up on top of the bluff over there, over the top of the semi-trailers that you can see here. So I got my focus dialed in while we still have some light, so I still need to get my 70 to 200 out and get that dialed in while we have some good light. And hopefully I'm dialed in. I have a lot of space I can move here to get that moon lined up. My time lapse may not work out, I'm gonna try. But with my 200 to 500, I can run 100 yards that way and 100 yards that way to get the shot of the moon going through that beacon. So I'm gonna finish getting set up, and we got about 15 minutes till moonrise. All right, so I got both cameras set up now, 200 to 500 here, really dialed in, and then the 200, which is gonna have a wider field of view on my other camera here. So now I gotta get my settings dialed in, which I'm just gonna play with manually. So I wanna expose for the moon tonight and not the foreground. So I want the moon to have the right exposure, and everything else can be darker tonight because the sun's already set. So I'm hoping to have the moon well exposed tonight as it comes up, and it's probably going to be a little after moonrise because I'm down in the river valley. The Mississippi River is just a half a mile over to my east here, so I'm shooting the top of a bluff of the Mississippi. So yeah, I just want that to be silhouetted with the light, which is flashing on it, to be kind of the light of the source, and hopefully I'm going to get the moon coming up right through there. The moon comes up at 6:09. And I'm guessing I'm not going to see the moon going through that tower till about 6:20, 6:23, if my calculations are correct. All right, we're getting close, 6 minutes, getting colder out. For February, it's not bad though. I think it's still in the 40s probably. It sounds like we're gonna go into the 60s early next week, which is pretty exciting. Then maybe some snow in the middle of the week and highs in the 20s, and then 60s again by next weekend, so a week from today. So we got 3 seasons of Minnesota, 3 seasons of the calendar coming up here in the next 7 days. So you can't say if it's ever boring. We are at moonrise. It's 6:09. We might have a little bit of a wait. I'm always excited to shoot the full moon, but man, it is tough on this night of when it's rising like 15, 20 minutes after sunset. My exposures are really, really dark. And I need to keep that exposure time somewhat quick to keep blur so we don't have trailing in that moon. So I'm just gonna keep bumping the ISO up. I'm just gonna start at 800. I might have to go up from there. Really, if I can get one good shot and you can clean that up, if it gets noisy, you can clean that up in Lightroom with the new noise reduction feature. And the time lapse may not be the greatest, but we're out here trying. All right, so I got both cameras time-lapsing away right now. They're both shooting at 1/50th of a second. My 7200 can go down to 2.8, so I have the ISO set a lot lower at 800 or 1000. Well, I had to get the plane. That was kind of cool. He was actually coming in and ended up accelerating to take back off. So he must have saw something he didn't like. So that was a small jet coming in. So the first plane that came in and kept going was a prop plane or a Cessna or something. I wonder if it got trumped with the jet coming in. I wonder if he was told he couldn't land knowing that jet was coming in. Not an aviation expert, but it seems to make sense in my head anyway. That's why that plane, that first plane, I wouldn't say it was touch and go, but it was definitely coming in and he took back off again. So one thing I look for on these darker full moon shoots when you don't exactly know, I mean, I know where it's gonna be, but I don't have it dialed into like the exact spot. I look to start seeing where you get that glow coming up over the horizon. And that can give you a pretty good indicator. And if there's sometimes it's helpful, there's some slight clouds up there because they'll reflect a little better. I don't see any glow yet, I don't think. I said 6/20/23 we'd start seeing the moon at 6:20. We'll see how close I'm in my prediction and where it actually ends up coming up over the horizon. Where is it? I think I can see a glow coming up over there now. It's 6:24. There's definitely a glow coming up. I think I'm in great position right now. I just need that thing to pop up. We might be nailing this shot if I can execute the settings on the camera. I can already see my 200 to 500s exposing really dark. Come on, come on, come on. The 200's much wider. I'm trying to get some foreground with the 200 of the semis over here to add a little city interest to it since we are down here in the city. There's definitely a glow up there, but I don't know if that's like city lights or the moon. But it's pretty bright. It's got to be the moon. Got another plane coming in here. I've come down here twice now. Once to shoot the full moon, trying to get a plane in it. And once last summer we had a lot of forest fire smoke in the air, trying to get a plane dialed up with something, and neither time worked out. And tonight there's planes coming in every 5 minutes. It's crazy. And it's Saturday night. That is definitely the moon coming up right behind the tower. There's definitely a good glow right there. It's just going to depend if it's already too far right or left of the tower when it finally comes up over the corner there. I'm trying to think which way I need to run, which side of the tower the moon is on. I mean, the glow is right there. I mean, it is perfect right now. All right, we got moon. We were close. I had to pull the 200 to 500 time lapse, run across the street to get it going up. Restarted my time lapse. Now I'm taking a shot every 2 seconds. My other time lapse, it'll be fine. The moon came up to the right side of the tower. So it wasn't perfect, but it's good enough. I should have set up right over here. But now I know for next year if I want to come back here and stand in 2 feet of snow and freeze. I wasn't too far off. We saw the moon about 6:27. I thought 6:23-ish, so 4 minutes off, not bad. All right, I made one more move tonight. I keep moving off to the left. I keep posing up the moon with that tower, so it's going right through the top of it right now. Change my time lapse to every second. We might get some camera shake in there going that quick with this big extended lens, but it's a risk I gotta take right now. I'm here getting the shot, and it's going right through where I want it to go through. This is, I think it's gonna be pretty successful. The moon exposure looked pretty good. I stopped it at one point when I was moving. It was getting a little blown out, but it looked pretty good for the most part. The one problem I have here is these cars' headlights just blast right into my lens here when these cars come by. It's awesome when you look through the viewfinder and you can just see the moon going right through the top of it. It's amazing how fast that moon actually moves. But I'm happy with tonight. I say that now before I process anything on the computer. But as far as being in the right spot, having a somewhat interesting composition and alignment for the moon, yeah, you can't really top that. My focus should be good. I used autofocus before I got going, so we should be good on the focus. So yeah, I'm happy. We'll see how they look on the computer. It's not very often that you can come down here in February and there's literally no snow. And I'm talking about it being in the 60s. I mean, a typical year, it could be 10 below right now with 2 feet of snow out here, trudging through here. So a good advantage when I could. Wrap on the February snow moon photo shoot. So we got busted out yesterday morning for the full moon rise with clouds on the horizon. We got a good full moon kind of out in a nature park yesterday evening rising. I've already kind of worked with some of those pictures and pretty happy with those. And now we're down here getting this airport beacon, kind of like a lighthouse. So all in all, I think this was a pretty successful February shoot. Next month, March, I will actually be down in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. I started looking at where that moon's going to be setting from my resort, and I'm pretty excited with what I'm seeing. So the next moon video you see will hopefully be what I can shoot down in Mexico from a beach with a cerveza and flip-flops on. We'll see you then.
Here's a sneak peek of where the moon will set while I'm in Mexico.